Chandler Rome wrote a piece for The Athletic chronicling what has been the worst month of Jose Abreu's career. Charlie, we keep hearing about Abreu's traditionally slow start. Which way do you fall on this? Do you think we'll see some homeostasis, some regression back to his career stats, that he has to do better? There's only one way to go up. Or do you think that the sample size is becoming large enough now to raise grave concerns?
Well, there's a blend. A grave concern should be there. Now, Alex Cintron, one of the Astros hitting coaches, over the weekend saying, I'm not worried at all. Well, what's he going to do? Come out and say in 1 month into a guy they gave 3 years, $58.5 million? Of course we're concerned he could be washed up. And Cintron can't say that, even if it's absolutely what he's thinking. But he's naive if he's saying, what, me worry? Regression to the mean is not inevitable, especially when you're 36 years old, clearly have lost bat speed, done it here a couple of times, and, well, here's at least one last shot at it. May 16th of last season, Abreu woke up batting 197, OPS in the 600 range, and other than the home run power, went on to have a really good year. An OPS 850, batting average 307. But he's a year older. The ditch he's digging is a very deep one. I'm concerned that his plate discipline is horrible. First 112 at bats, along with striking out 25 times, 4 walks drawn. So along with the batting average steadily dipping south, the on-base percentage is awful, which are a couple more reasons that batting him in the cleanup spot the vast majority of games to this point. Dusty, it's not scripture. I have to split up my left-handed hitters. And so, it's Father Time putting the beat down here on Jose Abreu. I've wondered a little, and, he doesn't think the pressure of joining the team is any sort of factor. Well, would a player fully grasp that or admit to it, or is he in serious decline? It's now 1 home run in his last 83 major league games played. That's more than a half season of baseball, with 1 more home run than you and I have combined. And everyone listening, watching combined. Cleanup hitters making $19.5 million per year aren't supposed to be punch and Judy guys who slap singles once in a while, never walk, and strike out a lot, and play suboptimal defense at first base. So it's been an absolute atrocity of a first sixth of the season. There is time for redemption, ongoing and longer term over the 3 years, but 36 and looking this bad so far, if it's not troubling, well, your head's lodged in the sand.
I'm gonna put you on the spot here because there's a lot of narrative. Obviously, he replaced a fan favorite in Yuli Gurriel. Yuli Gurriel is not an everyday starter now, but he is batting 306 right now with an OPS of over 800. Should they have kept Yuli? I mean, obviously he had it's revisionist history to make that kind of determination based off of what was a really bad 2022 for Yuli, but they would have only been tied to him for 1 year. The Abreu contract is a 3. And hey, again, not being revisionist, we all thought that contract was good. I think there was a lot of the fans across the league were just like, oh, here are the Astros doing it again. They're going to add another weapon and they're going to replace Yuli with a guy who's just going to be better. He has not been better. So with the benefit of hindsight, would have Yuli been the better option?
I want to say too early to go there, as you alluded to, Brandon. It's been part-time playing time for Gurriel, roughly 50 at bats, but including an inside the park homer. So at almost 39 years old, he did hustle it all the way around the bases once. When you sign Abreu for 3 years, who is way, way better than Yuli, and has been better than Yuli pretty much every year since they've both been over here. And Yuli's the older player. The 2020 hindsight component, and the fact that it would have been 1 year, and if Yuli was as bad this year as he was last year, well, it's still better than what Abreu's been so far. mean, my goodness, that 50-50 raffle the Astros do, the prize could be you get to play first base for a game, and you could get half the production that Abreu's given you so far. So I guess the clock ticks on this, and might Abreu be the worst contract of the Crane administration? I mean, Carlos Lee, became kind of a symbol of the Astros' demise when they gave him 6 years, $100 million. Carlos Lee had a couple of very good years here, and then he declined, and the Astros went right along with him. So if you're getting no return out of Abreu, this is one that could be a bit of an albatross. Also ties into the fact when you have nothing in your minor league system, no one remotely close as a first base prospect or a big outfielder. You're saying you could move him to first base, which is part of why, hey, maybe Michael Brantley, 36 years old, coming off a bum shoulder. Let's expose him to having to stretch for throws, and whatever runner collides with him at first base. A little bit of desperate times, desperate measures here. If Abreu's no better a month from now than he was through his first month, then the contract's going to be looking like a disaster. And I don't care what kind of career run producer he's been. He's been awful with runners in scoring position. He's routinely late on fastballs. He has looked washed up. But he had a start last year where he could have said a lot of the same thing at this point on the calendar. But a year older now, that was then, this is now. So I think it's an Amish saying. We can only hurry up and wait and see how this unspools a little bit further. But it could not have gone worse for the Astros transactionally than Yuli 1 year, $3 million, no thanks, which I thought was the right call. It's time to move on. Abreu's resume, even with the power outage the second half last year, is still a good player, but he has been one of the worst players in the major league so far.
Hey, thanks for watching. To see the other parts of this conversation, be sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you'll know when those videos drop, or you can check back later under the Stone Cold Stros playlist. To hear the full, uninterrupted show, follow Stone Cold Stros wherever you get your podcasts. Go Stros.